Welcome back, everybody. This is Omni Talk Retail. I'm Emma Zinga.
And I'm Chris Walton.
And we are back for our final interview of the day today at the Mirakl Summit. We have standing between us Tom McFadyen. Tom is the CEO of McFadyen Digital and also a veritable expert in marketplaces, Chris. We have the man standing between us.
I know, we saved the best for last, Dan, the expertise for last. We've been talking about marketplaces all day.
Yes.
You know, now we're bringing in the expert here to close it out, kind of the closer. So Tom, why don't you start? Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, you know, your background, and also what you do at your company that makes you such an expert.
Great, thanks for the opportunity to chat with you guys here at the Mirakl Summit. We've been a partner with Mirakl for 8 years, been building out a couple dozen Mirakl solutions, and then before Mirakl, we were building out marketplaces 17 years ago, but taking 3 years instead of 4 months to do it.
Right.
So we've been in the space a long time, building out e-commerce solutions since the late 90s.
Okay.
And built out 300 or so solutions of e-commerce and marketplace, about 10% of the Fortune 500. Authored a couple books on marketplaces as well.
Oh, he's got his book too.
Marketplace Monetization came out this year. And Marketplace Best Practices came out 2 years ago.
Oh my God.
And lots of other thought leadership around marketplace concepts and technology.
Awesome.
Well, let's dive in. I imagine this is one of the topics in those wonderful books. How would you say, like, compared to some other investments that some retailers could be making, what is important about investing in a marketplace?
Marketplaces really are business transformation, not just a small technology add-on.
Okay.
So there are dozens of little incremental additions you can do to your e-commerce site that may drive 1%, 2% conversion or additional sales or lift. But marketplace truly transforms the business. It can double or 10x increase the SKU count of your inventory. We've seen lots of examples of retailers and B2B distributors that have added hundreds of millions of dollars of GMV to their business with the marketplace business model, and it adds a lot of opportunities for their channel collaboration, increased top line GMV, increased revenue, increased margins, assortment expansion, additional data, opportunity to expand it to new business models, so retail media, fintech, licensing out data insights, offering services as a marketplace, all kinds of different business model transformation opportunities.
Wow.
So Tom, I'm curious, compared to other investments, like, what are you, if I'm a retailer, I'm evaluating building or standing up my own marketplace, if you were to walk through the income statement of a marketplace, like, what does it look like? We always hear about the revenue upside, which you just talked about brilliantly. Where does the revenue come from in total? But then also importantly, where do the costs actually come from on the retail side too?
Well, that's a good question about the income statement because a lot of people confuse the GMV term, the revenue term, and the profit term.
Right.
So if you have 1P inventory, owned inventory, if you have dropship, that generally is recognized as revenue. If you sell a third-party good, that's recognized as GMV, and your revenue is really the commission that you take on it.
Right.
So that 10%, 15%, 20%, plus any advertising revenue you might have as well. So although the GMV won't add to the top line revenue numbers, you do end up with a much higher profitability, which is often more important, especially these days where it's more about profitability than top line growth.
Right. And what are the costs you have to consider when you start to implement these solutions?
So certainly there's implementing a solution, but the nice benefit of cost-wise is it's a very asset-light business model, meaning in a traditional pipeline, your retail model, if you want to double your inventory, your assets, if you want to double your SKU count, you have to double your OpEx employees of buyers and merchandisers. You need to double your CapEx of warehouse space. You need to double your cash outlay of inventory, versus a marketplace, you don't have to buy inventory. You don't have to build out your warehouse or distribution capabilities. And a lot of times the scale, we hear stories of companies with half a dozen employees adding on 1,000 brands, 1,000 different sellers. So it's much more scalable and lighter cost weight.
Yeah, in a lot of ways sometimes you don't even have to deal with the returns too, right? Because you're putting that on the seller as well.
Right, it's a business model decision whether you want to deal with returns or not. Some organizations like to have the returns for the footfall in brick and mortar stores.
Right, good point.
story of Kohl's accepting Amazon returns.
Right,
for example.
exactly. Great point. Great point. Great analogy.
Well, I'm curious, since you are an expert in this subject, you've been doing this for such a long time. What advice do you have for an e-com player who's considering going into a marketplace, or who's considering, creating a marketplace platform?
Our philosophy is that everybody needs a marketplace strategy.
Everybody.
Everybody. It can be be operating a marketplace, which is generally the bigger organizations, or it can be selling on a marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you may not have the scale or the diversity or the audience or the eyeballs to operate your own marketplace, but you may want to consider the being a seller. It could be through either Mirakl Connect,
sure,
or some of the other vendor aggregation networks and selling on Amazon.
Okay.
And even if you're not selling on right now, you're a brand, you may want to go into Amazon to get their brand registry and protect against gray market and counterfeit sales, and have some opportunities there. So not everybody necessarily has to operate a marketplace. It is a good solution for a lot of organizations, but you need some strategy, whether it's selling on a marketplace, defending your product against marketplace, gray market, or sellers, and so forth.
Yeah, and you can always make it as big as you want too, right? You don't have to go big. You can go small with your marketplace, but you're saying it's an interesting point that you should have some marketplace strategy.
Yeah, Tom, I actually have another question. One thing that I've been having discussions with a lot of people in the industry about as of late is, how you differentiate your marketplace. Like, when you say, that's why I asked, should everybody be doing a marketplace? How do you recommend that retailers who are thinking about this, especially in similar spaces like in grocery, for example, how do you recommend that they think about really standing out so that their marketplace isn't just carrying the same thing as the next marketplace in their space?
Really having some unique value add differentiator is critical. It can be owning a niche that you have. If it's grocery, maybe it's the organics or the ethnic, and you have the largest range of ethnic foods or the spices, or et cetera, or you have the most information about allergens or nutritional information, breakdown.
Yep. Baby food, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, those types of things. All right, so you said you've been a sponsor of the Mirakl conferences for a while now. The theme of this conference is Go Beyond. So why are you such a big believer in Mirakl and what it does and how it enables basically its partners to go beyond?
Great question. And yeah, we've sponsored this event for I think 8 years now.
8 years,
and
right?
4 different summits this year: Munich, Paris, London, and now New York. All great events. So going beyond is really where, and we define marketplaces with a marketplace maturity model, 5 stages like capability maturity model, CMM, 1P inventory, 2P dropship, 3P marketplace are the first 3 tiers. Mm-hmm. Tier 4 is quantitative management like CMM, where there's a lot of data that you gather and you can use that to automate your seller, promotion or putting them in suspension and so forth, or gaining insights from the data. Level 5 of optimizing is really, used to be limited to the likes of Amazon and Alibaba and Mercado Libre, but now with Mirakl you can do a lot of that, go beyond the traditional marketplace. You can have your own retail media network,
right,
which oftentimes proves to be the most profitable part of a business. Certainly for Amazon, it's their most profitable business.
Yes.
Grew to $43 billion in 10 years for Amazon.
Isn't that crazy?
And now I think there are a few dozen Mirakl clients leveraging this platform. You can do some of the fintech or embedded finance capabilities, Mirakl Payout, faster KYC, know your customer compliance, faster cross-border, faster invoicing with an invoicing solution that Mirakl has built out.
Yeah.
As well as some of the AI capabilities that really propagate throughout the whole platform, from the catalog ingestion, harmonizing categories and attributes and value pairs, to sentiment analysis and the customer messaging from buyer back to seller, from targeting ads within Mirakl ads. So a lot of different capabilities that AI, those AI tools that only Mirakl really has offered. So
wow.
Great offering from Mirakl, and leaps and bounds ahead of the competition as far as marketplace capabilities.
Wow. Well, Tom, I want to close out with your kind of predictions for where the future of marketplaces are headed. We've heard a lot in the news, especially in the last even year and a half, of more people getting on the bandwagon for all the reasons that you're talking about. But where do you think we're going? What will we see in maybe the next year and few months?
I think multiple monetization models is a big opportunity.
Okay.
If we look at, for example, Instacart, they have 9 different monetization models. So they charge commission to the buyer that's buying goods. They charge grocer, and sometimes they license data to the grocer, they advertise for the grocer, they have personal shoppers they pay and charge for, they have delivery drivers that they pay and charge for, they have data that they license out to CPG brands.
Right.
So 9 different ways to monetize a marketplace in that example, and Mirakl is offering a lot of that as well. Some of the fintech, so the data insights, the advertising platforms. So really leveraging a marketplace for more than just the commission.
Okay.
That's what it was, for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Everything's, I can make 10%, 20%.
Right.
There's so much more than that.
So further extensions of the business model, essentially, is what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
Well, Tom, you're an entrepreneur. You run a business, and we always like to help out other entrepreneurs whenever we can. So, and you've got a ton of expertise in the marketplace space. So if people want to get in touch with you, pick your brain, get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Through our website's McFadyen.com, McFadyen.com.
Okay.
I'm available on LinkedIn, Tom McFadyen, and we're happy to send lots of thought leadership content from the 2 books to a lot of other stuff that we can happy to send out. Shoot a note out to info at McFadyen.com, McFadyen.com.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes,
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. There's a Y in there, everyone. So,
Yes.
well, thanks, Tom. Tom McFadyen, thanks for being with us. Thanks for joining us here at the Mirakl Summit. Thanks for your support of the Mirakl Summit, too, on behalf of Mirakl. I feel comfortable saying that as well. And that concludes our coverage, right, Ann?
Yes.
We're out.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much.
It's been a long week, but we are done.
Yes, thanks
Thank
again
you.
to Mirakl and to all of you who've been watching and following along all of our OmniTalk adventures here in New York this week. And until next time.
Be careful out there.